And this is episode 36 of the Lifestyle Entrepreneur Podcast. And my next guest is Michelle McCullough. And she's going to talk about, okay, you've launched your business, so now what? And she is phenomenal at business strategy to help you scale and take your business to the next level. Welcome to the Lifestyle Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Kris Gilbertson, and I'm an author, speaker, and a coach to teaching you how to launch your own successful podcast. And the reason I designed this show is to bring you the top lifestyle entrepreneur experts from all over the world for them to share their key strategies that they've used to launch their own businesses and allow them to live life on their own terms. So tune in every Friday for new episodes and come on over and join the Lifestyle Entrepreneur community at www.lifestyleacademy.com. There you're going to receive VIP training from specific guests from the podcast, along with being able to watch all of the interviews. And I'll also be making it really easy for you to implement these strategies that you're hearing by sending you what I like to call the Lifestyle Cliff Notes on the best of the best lessons learned on the podcast. So let's get started. All right, so before we get started with the show, I just want to thank everyone who is subscribing and leaving awesome reviews in iTunes. I'm so excited that people are enjoying these interviews. And I'm excited to announce First Fridays. So what I'm going to be doing the first Friday of every month, we're going to have a raffle for those of you that have subscribed to the podcast and then also left a review. And it'll be a raffle for $25 gift cards from iTunes, Amazon, eBay, all over the place. So all you simply need to do is just subscribe to the podcast in iTunes and then leave us a review, and your name will go in a hat, and we'll announce that the first Friday of every month. And this week's loyal listener shout out goes out to BC Podcast. They say, great resource for new podcasters, 5 stars. Being new to the podcasting world, we are still trying to figure out what the heck we're doing. Kris reached out as such an incredible support of us for newbies that we had to check out our show. What a great catch of entrepreneurs to learn from. This podcast is definitely going to help us define our place in the industry. Well, I'm so excited to hear that. And I do have some guests coming up in the future that are going to be more about branding and positioning. A lot of the interviews that we've had have been more about the how-to. And I know in the beginning, especially when you're first becoming an expert and you're launching your business online and trying to find that unique marketplace for you to stand out, you do have to have that positioning. So I'm excited to bring more guests on in the future to really help you with that, because I know that was a big thing that held me back for so long before I actually launched. So thanks again for being a loyal listener, and I can't wait for today's show. Well, welcome back. I'm so excited for our guest today. Her name is Michelle McCullough, and she is a success expert and serial entrepreneur. And she's a highly sought after business strategist and speaker. She's also the #1 Amazon bestseller for her book, The Time Blueprint for Entrepreneurs. And she's also the host of Make It Happen Radio and the creator of the Life Balance Myth and the Marketing Playbook. So what's great about Michelle is she's got these phenomenal coaching programs and self-study systems to help entrepreneurs and professionals really create a lifestyle business. And she's been featured in numerous media outlets, including entrepreneur.com, UVBQ's 40 Under 40, and is the managing director for Startup Princess, an international organization for women entrepreneurs. She's also the busy mother of 2 kids, ages 5 and 3. So she knows how busy your schedule can be and how to help you really make it happen on your own schedule. So Michelle, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Kris. I'm so excited to be with you.
Yes, I'm so excited. You're just women entrepreneurs to me are just phenomenal. I just give you guys so much credit for what you do, because running a business on its own by itself is so much in itself as it is. So I'd love for you to share how you got started. I know you were telling me a little bit before that you actually started at the age of 19 as an entrepreneur. So I'd love to share your story and how you came to be and where you're at today with your business.
Sure. I call myself an accidental entrepreneur because I really didn't set out to be an entrepreneur as a kid. I mean, I don't know anybody who really does. But when I was in college, my education and background is in marketing. And so I was working at an advertising agency. And this was about 15 years ago when we were looking for some promotional items. And the internet was not what it was then as it is now. So we were trying to find somebody who could get some things imprinted for us. And we found a guy in the Midwest, and he was helping us put together bids. And he said, you could sign up with this company that I use, and then you'd make the commission on it. And it ended up being super generous of him. And so I signed up. It cost me $50 to start my first business. And I made a couple $100s with those orders. And then I kind of expected to just not do it again, but I really loved it. I loved it so much. And so forever, it has always been this side business of mine as I've worked for advertising agencies and newspapers and radio stations and things like that until I stayed home after I had my first baby. And so I kind of moved that to the front burner and have grown that business. And I still have that business, that promotional products business. But now, 5 years later, after I've been home for 5 years, I've done business consulting for the last 5 years and marketing consulting. And so now I run 3 businesses from home, and it's just a lot of fun. Like I said, I call myself the serial entrepreneur because I've started, grown, and sold and died, like 8 or 9 businesses over the last decade. And I've got 3 that stick, and they're a lot of fun. And I love the internet because I can work at home and do what I love to do and raise my kids at the same time.
Oh, I love it. So how did you because I know you've got 3 major businesses now that you're working on. How did you first pick your niche, though, to get started and really stake your claim? Because I think that's a big problem for most entrepreneurs when they're getting started.
It certainly is. And for me, everything I do is really based around marketing and helping people in the marketing space. And so if I consult and speak on subjects, it's basically because, I kind of look at it this way. What I do is marketing consulting and business consulting for businesses. And how I do it is through productivity tips and success tips and things like that. So often people are calling me saying, how do you do it? And so I'll do speeches and seminars on time management and success principles. And my radio show talks a lot about success principles as well, because I think that it's not just about the industry that you want to own. It's about how to actually get things done. So I'm a marketing consultant, but I also get asked to speak a lot on success principles and how I get things done and not just what I do.
Yeah, I love that. So is there any specific tips on how you can help people focus in on where they actually should start their business?
For people who are just kind of in that startup phase, I love the advice that Richie Norton gives in his book, The Power of Starting Something Stupid, because I always go back to that. I had him on my radio show earlier this year, and I always have, my brain is constantly churning with business ideas. And so I said to him, how do you pick the thing that you want to do? Because a lot of us, especially creatives, have tons of ideas, and it's just a matter of trying to decide what to do. And even in your business, you'll have tons of ideas and you don't have enough time to do it. So how do you decide what the right thing to do is? And he said, I always make that decision by deciding what thing am I going to regret? What am I going to regret doing? And so now I do that both in deciding which businesses to start and also in my businesses. I've got so many ideas. I just say, which one thing, of all the 10 things that I have, which one thing will I regret doing if I don't do it now? And so that's kind of how I focus my efforts. And I love that little he gave me.
That's brilliant because it really does help you hone in on what you really want or what you want to create and what you want to have out there in the marketplace. I love that. That's great. So what would be the one thing that you regret if you didn't do it today? That's a easy way to pick it. I love it. So let's go into then. I have so many questions for you. How did you get started with your show? Let's go there.
I got started with my show because I was introduced to the right people. And so I've had a friend, I was like, I really want to promote speaking more. I want people to hear me. I want them to see what I'm doing more on a regular basis and to get my message out there in a bigger way. And somebody said, I reached out to a lot of different companies. I looked into third-party companies. I looked into doing it myself. And I eventually went with TogiNet and staff and people who help me on the back end do all the technical things. And so I just get to show up and promote the show, find the guests, and it's really been awesome. I've been doing it for almost a year, and it's one of my favorite things that I do for business.
Yeah, it's me too. I love it. I love the way that we can connect with people with our shows. I think it's that's why I tell everybody to start one, because of the connection that you create. You never You never know where they're going to go and what can happen for you. So I think that's brilliant. So did you, with the life balance myth, let's talk about that, because that's a signature product that you have. And I know a lot of people really struggle with that too, having the balance. I know for me, I have to always pull myself out to go do other things. I want to just stay focused in the business. So let's talk about that and how you created that to help entrepreneurs have that balance back.
Well, I started when I had my second child and I was home on a non-maternity leave, because entrepreneurs don't really get maternity leaves. And I was just looking around all of my friends who have businesses going, I think I'm missing something. Like, I think that they've got some secret. And I think that happens a lot for entrepreneurs. I think it happens more for women than anybody else, but we kind of look around going, how do they have it all together? And I seem to be a mess. And so I just was starting to search. And I remember telling a friend, I am struggling with this. This is hard. Getting into new routines, trying to figure out how to do this with 2 kids. And how do I do it? And she said, oh, honey, you just need to find some life balance. And so I went in search of this life balance that she discusses. And the more I tried to find it, the less I felt balanced and the more crazy I felt. And after 9 months of that, I had a chat with Danielle Laporte, who is a good friend of ours through Startup Princess. And I remember saying, how do you do it? How do you balance it all? And she said, honey, it's not about balance. It is about priority. And in that instant, something clicked for me. And I let life balance completely go. And I started focusing on priorities on a week-by-week basis. And now all of my coaching is through a signature system that I call the Life Priority System, where we help people work through how to set schedules each week to not necessarily worry about balance, but worry about being in priorities. And one of the greatest gifts that entrepreneurs have is the ability to say, you know what, this week I have a big deadline. I really need to focus and I've got to get that done. And in other weeks where you don't have big deadlines, that you can say, you know what, I need to be more with my kids or more with my family or more taking on this project that is really a passion project of mine that I really want to be doing for part of humanity. And so it gives you the permission and the flexibility to grow the business that you want without sacrificing your life. And I see so many entrepreneurs doing that, just burning themselves into the ground. So that Life Balance Myth workshop is all about helping entrepreneurs with both time management, mindset management, and then also creating effective goals and how to tackle those goals so that you can get it done. And then the other piece that I think is really critical is we also talk about enrollment and how to help the people in your life really get wrapped around into the goals that you're doing so that you don't feel like you're demanding help, but that you're getting the help that you want and need in your business in a way that's fair for all of your relationships.
Oh,
so that's just kind of the premise of how that came about.
Yeah, that's really powerful. And then the enrollment piece, I love that you touch on that, because I think a lot of programs don't cover any of that, and it's so powerful what you're just talking about, is having them understand the goals that you're creating, so it's not just like forcing them to do stuff and things like that. I think that's brilliant, especially when you have a family with what you're running and what you're doing.
Yes.
So I love it. So let's talk about the marketing playbook now. So how did that come about? I know that's one of your newer programs.
Well, I've used it for a long time on the back end. As clients come to me individually and ask me to help them put together marketing strategies, I always use this tool in the back end. It goes through all the different parts of a marketing strategy. I help people effectively balance traditional and emerging strategies. A lot of people, I feel like, are imbalanced in their marketing, and they're doing so many things online that they're missing the opportunity to reach people in traditional ways. So it does a lot of helping in that, helps you define campaigns, helps you set the objectives and how to track them. I have a little tab in there for ROI tracking so that you can track the expense of each marketing outlet and then the return on your investment based off of the sales that come from it, or people who sign up for your list or links to your website, so that you can really decide which marketing outlets are the most lucrative, so that you know how to move forward powerfully, and so that you're not just going, oh, I don't know if that worked or not. But it's an objectives-based system that helps you define your objectives and then helps you track whether or not you got them. And so I just this year released it for like a self-study, and people can use it themselves without having to hire me. So that's just, I wanted more people to have access to it, and felt like some people are smart but don't have a tool, and some people also want to figure some things out on their own. And so I tried to make it at a place that would be cost effective, that would really help people do it themselves, because I would much rather have people do their planning even if they're not using me,
right,
and not plan at all.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I think that's fantastic. And having the right plan, but then knowing what to do is really, really important. And understanding how to track the ROI with, because there's so many things out there for all of us to do that it gets confusing and we're not sure if it's actually working. So it's
Yeah.
brilliant. So I have a question for you because you have a consulting business, but then you also have kind of an information based, expert business. How do you manage those two? And do you suggest people start with one or the other when they're starting their business?
I suggest that you do the thing that's right for you and your business. But for me, what I was trying to do is I basically looked at it as a sales funnel type system where I needed people to, I knew that some people couldn't afford my high end consulting or coaching, but that they could use some of my other products or services that would also help them experience what working with me would feel like. And so it also gives me another piece of the platform for me to be able to sell. So I have smaller products and services that are easier for people to bite off and chew. So that's just a piece of my funnel and is really part of a strategic marketing plan that helps people, whether they want to experience and use me at the small level, like buying my books, or kind of in the mid level with products, and then high end with one-on-one consulting.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I know we got connected through Alicia, through her book launches and some things that we were doing for bestseller campaign. And one of the things that really intrigued me about you is what you've done with Twitter. So I'd love for you to share what strategy you use to drive traffic, because you've got all these funnels set up and a lot of people can create products, but then they're like, okay, now how do I get the traffic to actually buy my genius? So let's talk about that and what strategies you use that have been the most effective for you.
Well, Twitter has been a piece for one of my businesses, Startup Princess. My business partner and I, Kelly Anderson, she started it before I got involved. But our Twitter following on Startup Princess is over 250,000 followers on Twitter. And that came about, and so I do a lot of social media consulting around that and how we use it. But one of the reasons why that worked for us is that as a small business, we recognized that we wanted a presence everywhere. We really couldn't be consistent everywhere at once. And so especially for those businesses that are and entrepreneurs that are in charge of their own social media, you don't have time to be in every social media outlet all day long, or that would be your full-time job and you'd never be able to do anything else. And so we picked one or two social media outlets that we could really go deep in. And I always say the adage by Tiffany Peterson that I would rather have one 100-foot deep well than 101-foot deep wells. And we wanted to go really deep and build a following, get a fan base, and have people work with us there. And as a result, it paid off because we were able to increase our followers, have good conversations there, do Twitter chats, and then we use that following to really drive traffic to our website, to the events that we have. And so, like I talked about before, one of the things that I'm a huge fan of is really being objectives based in all of the marketing that you do. And so we sit down as a team, define our objectives for the year, and figure out what places and strategies are the best for our time. And we use Twitter not just as be on Twitter because that's great, but how does that help us contribute to our overall marketing plan so that we can have the results that we want both online and offline?
Yeah. I love the analogy of the 100-foot deep well, because that's where you get the best results and are able to really carry it forward. So what are some of the best strategies that you found with Twitter that worked for, well, first let's back up. Let's talk about the Startup Princess. I want you to explain what that is for people and then how you were able to use Twitter to really reinforce that.
Startup Princess is an international organization for women entrepreneurs. So we help women grow businesses, whether they're just in the startup phase or if they have an established business that they're trying to take to the next level. So we do three things primarily through that organization. We do private coaching and consulting. We offer free online resources. So our site has over 1,500 articles, blog posts, video interviews, things like that. Just tons of resources for people who, like me, are up at midnight working when their kids are in bed and still need that information that's available to them. And then third, we do live events. So we bring people together to help them with connections and networking. And so that's an organization, like I said, that Kelly started about 7 years ago. I came in about 5.5 years ago. And so we just help women entrepreneurs. We've got women from all over, about 40 different countries and in every state throughout the U.S. that we serve in one of those three ways.
Oh, that's fantastic. So when did you guys decide to go with Twitter and start using that for your strategy?
Well, initially it was because it was one of the first. So we did Facebook and Twitter, and we were kind of on Twitter in the beginning when they launched, which helps. Though we've been able to help other people grow now when they start, later as well. But we like the Twitter conversation because it was short and sweet. I think that one of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make in marketing is trying to share too much information at once or in the wrong outlet. And so Twitter really focuses for you to get clear. But our strategy with Twitter isn't to sell. We believe, and I believe strongly, and I tell this to my clients all the time, that social media isn't for sales. It's for seeding and service. And so you can seed those sales online. You can let people know about events, but really the best thing that we can do is to show up and provide a lot of information. And part of our strategy on Twitter is to drive traffic to our website and our content. And so we're posting information and we're trying to provide and be a resource for people in any outlet that we're in, whether we're on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. We want people to see us as the startup resource for women entrepreneurs. And so we try to provide that information through that outlet. And we also know, which is another thing that I tell my clients all the time, is that your home court advantage is your website or your shop. It's not Twitter and it's not Facebook. And so as much as we want to play in those places, when we're in Facebook, we're on Facebook's home court advantage. And so the best strategy with any social media outlet is to get people to your site, to your services, to your outlets, and to use social media as a strategy and tool to get them to where you can own the conversation. And so that's always been our goal and strategy with any marketing outlet as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. So have you branched off onto other platforms now, or are you still just focusing on Twitter and Facebook?
No, we have. So after we did Twitter for a long time, we added Facebook. And so now we've kind of run. So I kind of tell people it's like juggling. You get used to juggling one ball.
Right.
And then you get used to juggling two balls.
Two balls, yeah.
And then you get used to juggling three balls. So we've added Pinterest and Instagram over the last little bit. And we kind of play in some other places a little bit. We do a little bit on LinkedIn. But it's just a matter of picking. For us, Facebook and Twitter were the best places to start. And for other people, it might be Pinterest and Instagram or Google Plus and LinkedIn or whatever. So it's just picking one or two to, again, go deep. And then you can add more as you master and you figure out what are they interested in? What are they retweeting? What are they sharing? What are they posting? And then once you figure that out, you can branch into other outlets as well.
Oh, I love that. So I want to go back to the life balance myth, because what's so unique with what you've done is you have this consulting, you have this Startup Princess organization, and then you have all of your other information products. How do you structure your week by week? Like, what's the Michelle playbook?
Yeah. So the Michelle playbook is that more than anything else, I have made my best friend in my business time. And I consider that time to be my greatest asset or my greatest liability in my business. And people say to me all the time, I have no idea how you do what you do with 2 kids, and you published 2 books this year and you are running 3 businesses. How do you do all that? And it's just because I am so rigid is the wrong word, but it's close to that. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm not flexible, because I am, but I use a time map. And I advocate with my clients. And that's why I wrote the book, The Time Blueprint for Entrepreneurs, because people were asking me, how do you do it? How do you get it all done? And that book really is the answer. I believe that every entrepreneur wears 5 hats, and that everything that we do falls into those 5 time categories of marketing, creating, fulfilling, managing, and learning. And then scheduling those into your week to make sure that you always are marketing and that you're always creating and that you're always fulfilling and you're keeping your pipeline really, really fluid makes all the difference in the world. And to me, the biggest change that I made as I was, it took me lots of years to get to the place where I figured out what works and what doesn't, and what works for other people and what doesn't. And this is the end result of just being able to say, you know what, too many things are on a to-do list that move from one day to the next because we're not focusing on the things of the highest priority. And instead, we need to schedule those into your calendar, make appointments with yourself, keep those appointments as you would like lunch with a friend or a meeting with a client. Make that just as important as you would anything else, so that your business becomes a priority and not something that happens if you have time.
Right. Oh, and I love, can you share those 5 buckets again? Because I think that's brilliant.
Creating, so all the creating you do in your business, product creation, program creation, marketing, so all the marketing activities, fulfilling, which is the time that you actually spend with clients. In a service-based business, that's one-on-one consulting time. In a product-based business, that's shipping and receiving. And then managing. And I'm a huge fan of delegation. So I have like 5 virtual assistants that are kind of the secret to my success. I don't do anything that's not in my area of expertise or that should be done at a lower level in my company. And so my time isn't spent in admin responsibilities, it's spent in managing the people who handle those things. And then the 5th category is learning, that I make learning a priority and that I'm constantly keeping up in my industry and also in myself and my own personal development to make sure that I'm always at the top of my game.
Yeah, that's just brilliant, Michelle. And I can see with a lot of entrepreneurs, they're either just stuck in learning and that's where they oscillate and they don't get into action, or they're
Right.
like, for me, this year has been a lot of the creation. It's just been constant. And I'm trying to fit in the rest of the components. And that comes from, obviously different levels of your business. You rise to different levels where you're at. But I think that's brilliant to manage that and then to have it scheduled out where you can understand what you need to be doing and how to have to follow through with that, checks and balances, so to speak.
Yes, for sure.
Yes. So what are some of the biggest mistakes that you help your clients break through?
So time management would be one. Poor time management is where I start because we can work on other things once we make sure that some of those pieces are in place with your schedule. I also think one of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make is the failure to add staff quickly. And like we mentioned before, I think that especially when it comes to time management, I always felt like as an entrepreneur, even when I started my first business and I'm up late putting stickers on catalogs, thinking that's the best use of my time. And then finally realizing I can pay the neighbor kid down the street $5 to do that. He's thrilled that he's not out, trying to do something else when he's young. And I'm spending that time selling and building relationships and being with clients. And so I'm really a huge fan of helping them get the right people in place in their business to make sure that that infrastructure supports them for growth. And another mistake that I think that I will focus on here is that they kind of wear sacrifice as their middle name, and that they feel like that if they sacrifice themselves, so self-care goes down the drain, that it makes it okay to run their business. And then as a result, they run themselves into the ground. So we do some of that mindset piece as well, and also just making sure that you figure out how to prioritize yourself into things. And because like I said, I believe that you can grow a thriving business without sacrificing a meaningful personal life. And it's really about being better organized and working smarter and not harder in your business.
Right. Oh, that's brilliant. I know the sabotage of the self happens a lot. I've fallen victim to that, and you just get so excited of what you think. Oh yeah, that's okay, but it's not, and it does. It takes a toll, and it can really impact the success that you have with your business and how fast you can scale it and grow it. So this has been absolutely phenomenal. Now, do you have any other tips that you want to share with entrepreneurs on how to really help them level up and get to the next level in their business?
I think that my final advice is something that I learned a few years ago, and that is just that for me, more than anything, whether you have kids or don't, whether you're growing a Fortune 500 business or a business out of your house, I think it's really important to honor your path and to figure out what's right for you. I love the quote by Pastor Stephen Furtick that says, one of the reasons why we struggle with insecurity is because we compare our behind the scenes to other people's highlight reel. And I think of myself with 2 little kids trying to figure out how to run a business and thinking, why can't I do it like them? Or why can't I do it like her? Or how is she figuring this out? And really just getting clear and present about what's right for you. And, there are some things in my business and some ideas that I put off for 5 years because of the way that I wanted my businesses to be. And it's so important for you as an entrepreneur to figure out what's right for you in your business and what needs to happen now and what needs to happen later. And what are you doing because you know it's right for your business instead of you copying it because you feel like just because they did it that you should do it too. So I think that it's just really important for wherever you are to honor your path, not think that there's anything wrong with where you are, but own your past, own your present, and prepare for the future in the way that's right for you.
Oh, that's brilliant advice. Absolutely amazing. So Michelle, this has been phenomenal. If you can share where everybody can find out about you, that would be fantastic.
Yes, I would love for you to find me at michelleontheair.com, which has everything about my radio show and all of the services that I provide as well.
Excellent. No. And Michelle's put together a phenomenal bonus for everybody as well to really what we've been talking about here. The majority of it is how to work smarter and not harder for your business. So if you head over to lifestyleacademy.com, you'll get access to all the expert interviews, bonuses, but specifically for Michelle's on really how to hone that in and save your time. Like that's the most valuable asset to help you work smarter and not harder. So Michelle, this has been absolutely phenomenal. I'd love to have you back in the future. It's been a blast. Thanks for showing up.
Thanks for having me. It was so fun.
And I hope you enjoyed that episode. I'd love to get your feedback here for the Lifestylepreneur podcast right in iTunes. Simply leave us a 5-star and a review letting us know what you like, who you're interested in hearing more from, and what topics you really want help with in your business that I can bring on those key experts to really fine tune and help you in your business and creating the lifestyle of your dreams. And I'll be giving shout outs, so make sure you put your name and your website address if you want me to share that with the community as well. And again, thanks for listening. I'm so excited that you found the Lifestylepreneur podcast, and I can't wait to connect with you and learn more about your business as we continue to grow this community. So again, have a great day, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Lifestylepreneur podcast. Again, I'm Kris Gilbertson, and I'm committed to bringing you top training from leading lifestylepreneurs all over the world to help you break through and turn your dreams into your ideal lifestyle. And make sure to join us at www.lifestyleacademy.com to receive VIP training from specific guests I interview on the show so that you can really easily start to implement what you've learned from listening. I know we're all busy, and sometimes we don't have time to listen to the entire podcast or take notes because I'm always listening on the go. So I like to call it the lifestyle cliff notes to creating your ideal business and make it really simple for you. So those will be sent via the email list. Plus, I also want to connect with you personally, and being on the Lifestyle Academy mailing list is where all the magic happens. We'll host VIP trainings once a month that we can't always bring out on the podcast with even more detailed information. And I also want to connect with you personally. I want to know what's going on in your business and what you need help with and who I can bring on to aid you in creating your ideal lifestyle. And so I'll be asking questions every once in a while that I want you to reply, and I reply back to you personally. So again, until next time, wishing you on your way to achieving all of your dreams. Talk to you soon.